So if you are stuck in a situation that feels like it's frustrating, you don't know which direction to go, it's not the way that you want it to be, but you don't know what to do about it, then here is a distinction that has helped me tremendously in my life and has also helped a lot of the people that I coach with. So this is something that I've seen in different forms in different places, but most recently in the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, where Naval says in any situation, you basically have three high-level options. You can either accept the situation as it is, you can change the situation, or you can leave the situation. And I think the interesting thing is what I see a lot of people doing, and myself included, is we tend to get stuck not in any of those three, but like hovering around the middle. We're not happy with it, we're not accepting it, but we're also not changing it effectively. We're also not leaving. So you're in this kind of middle ground that just feels uncomfortable, feels unpleasant. It's doing nothing for you except wasting energy and just not feeling great. So what I've learned to do is when I have that feeling, when something feels out of integrity, when it feels frustrating, when it feels like there's no movement, or stop and put those three options on the table. Am I going to fully accept the situation, which is itself something that requires work, right? Accepting a situation is not just letting it be as it is. It means doing the deep inner work in yourself to shift how you're seeing it, what you're expecting, what your beliefs are, so that you actually get a feeling of peace and acceptance. That's hard work. That's probably even the hardest option of the three. And there are techniques for it. There's the work of Byron Katie, for example. There's any kind of deep coaching conversation where you're trying to shift mindset and perspective. But sometimes that's not what we want. Sometimes that's not even the most helpful option. So the other option, of course, is to change it. And I think it's remarkable how often we want to change something but don't. So what I've learned is really helpful if you're choosing to go the option of changing is to get really strategic and work backwards from the goal that you want. So almost any coaching conversation always starts with what is the end goal you're trying to achieve? This is not psychology. We're not starting at your childhood and seeing how you're feeling about things. We're starting at the future that you want, the end goal, the kind of person that you want to be, the situation that you want to be in. Working backwards to what can I do today, tomorrow, this week, this month to move myself in that direction. So in that sense, coaching and change is about creating motion. That movement towards a future that you want is genuinely important, just for making progress, but also for feeling good about yourself, for feeling fulfilled, for having a sense of integrity. So that's the second option, changing. And then the third option is leave. And we have a culture of thinking that leaving is giving up or failing. And yet, if you think about it, leaving one situation to move to a better situation is actually fundamentally part of how change works. You can't move somewhere without leaving somewhere else. So whether that's a next step in a career, in a specific company, whether it's doing something totally different, whether it's leaving a corporate job to start your own thing, you do actually need to leave one thing behind to get the next thing. And that is part of progress. That's not failure or giving up. I think consciously deciding that I no longer want this because I want that instead is actually a very brave step in many cases. And where I see a lot of people getting stuck is they feel like, okay, that means I'm giving up. And I help to reframe that as, is it that you're giving up on something that really matters to you, or are you letting go of something that actually isn't serving you anymore? And that's true for beliefs as well, right? Sometimes we're stuck because we're believing something that's not helping us. So letting go of a belief or letting go of a situation, a job, a person, whatever it is, that is sometimes the most healthy and helpful thing we can do. So think of the situation that you have. If you're feeling stuck and frustrated, if there's no motion forward, put those three options on the table and ask yourself, which do I prefer right now? What would I like to try first? Do I want to try genuinely accepting it? Do I want to try changing it and getting actually purposeful and strategic about that? Or do I want to leave the situation? And I generally suggest that people try them in the order of changing first. So see what you can change. Can you create what you're looking for where you are right now? Because that is often the case. Often we're able to create far more than we think. If that doesn't work, shift to acceptance. Is there a different way of thinking and looking at the situation that will allow you to discover the fulfillment that you're looking for where you are? Even if that's temporary, maybe it's a situation that will change itself later on, and for now you need to accept it. Or if that's not the case, look at the consequences and the opportunities of leaving. Don't just jump into anything, but consider it. What might it look like to leave? Where would you go to? What might be a better possibility? So accept, change, leave as being the three basic options that we have to create some kind of shift or motion in a situation that isn't feeling the way that we want it to. It's been extremely helpful for me.